All right.
All right.
Got Derick G in the house.
Luis Ocasio, one of my favorite guys. What's happening, boss?
Yeah, man. Appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
Always.
Let's talk about this. How'd this happen?
Please. Well, look at that, man. So what you see right here is one of the first pieces of merch that I put out, right? You got actually the OG, the Portland Freethinkers crew neck. And
I rock it all the time.
Listen, man, this ain't even the current logo or nothing, but this is a manifestation of my life's work in Portland. You know what I mean? I moved here. I was supposed to be here for 2 years. Finish out college, get my degree, and then move on to the next place. Didn't happen. I'm still here 5+ years later. And I feel like for myself, I have to do something with my own time and with my own energy, right? Because I grew up around the makings of handymen and entrepreneurs and things of that nature. So if anything was taught to me, it's if you work hard, man, you do happen to live in a place, right? America, I know we got our qualms, but you do happen to live in a place where you can own your own means of production. So that's my means of production right there, man. And that's a symbol to anybody who wants to put it on, wear it proudly, because that was the whole entire intention. I can proudly wear something that symbolizes, hey, man, I think for myself. You know what I mean? This is mine. First off, this didn't exist if I didn't conjure it up in my mind. And it's the symbolism of you can think for yourself, man, and it's okay. You don't have to conform to the status quo. Yes, is it polite in some senses? Yes, but come on, man. You can't tell other people what to think. Evade thought police at all costs, man. You know what it is.
I just feel like it's so weird because what happened recently where I feel like you came up with this idea and it was during the Trump era, and I feel like you being like, think for yourself, don't go with the status quo. Everyone's like, yeah, cool. But then that same mentality now, everyone's like, Biden's president, everything's cool now, and it's just like, now I'm hearing all these people on the right be like, think for yourself, and now when I post, I'm like, think for yourself, people are like, what are you on the right?
And what are you trying to say, huh?
And I'm like, what?
Well, it's interesting that you point that out, because none of that really, I push that to the back of my mind, right? All that political stuff, this was me, this was 2016, 2017.
That's what I mean, this was before that.
Yeah.
So it's now it's like the meaning twisted.
Exactly. But in reality, right, this Portland Freethinkers, right, the Portland Freethinkers Club, the Freethinkers Club in general was a reaction, if anything, or a response to my time out here, not being able to find myself in a circle where I could speak my mind without having to be like, am I gonna get in trouble for this? You know what I mean? This is before cancel culture too, right? You know what I mean? So when was the Bill Cosby situation? That was just a couple years ago. That was the start, right? That was the big catalyst. So when I'm in these groups and I'm talking to people and I have to preface, well, I'm not from here, I had to come to a realization. First off, I can't use that as a crutch, right? I can't be an asshole because I'm not from here, and you know what I mean, and keep using that as an excuse. That's like me saying I'm just the way that I am, right? Nobody really likes to hear that. But there's a fine line of compensation to where I can be a doormat and I can let people walk all over me and I can hide my own opinion because I don't want to sound unsavory. Or I could say, hey man, listen, you know me, you know my character as an individual. If you've interacted with me on that type of level, you understand that I mean no malice. I really don't. When I have these conversations, it's because I just want to have a open dialogue. You can only come to a resolution or come to a conclusion of anything with a dialogue, not a monologue, right? I could talk at you all day, but that doesn't mean anything. So this is just a response to that, man, and to seeing the closed-mindedness of people who would talk about being so open-minded and, hey man, dude, I do mushrooms, dude, I'm so open-minded. But if you say anything anti-Biden, I can't be your friend anymore. If you don't wear a mask, I can't be your friend anymore. It's like, hey man, you can do you and I can do me, and we can still be friends even though we have a difference of opinions. If anything, that makes us more complete, well-rounded individuals. But like I said, man, people, I didn't say it, but I thought it, people oftentimes just want to be in their little echo chamber, right? Because if they're wrong, then they're a failure. Nobody wants to be a failure, but people also don't understand being wrong does not make you a failure whatsoever.
And just this whole thing, my very first band when I was, 13 or 14 years old, it's Cage of Mind. It was my first realization. I was looking around, I'm like, things seem fine, but things aren't fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going on here? It seems like people are kind of trapped just by their own thought processes, and that kind of developed into Live Island, which was then kind of my solution to the thing, and then so on from there, but it's just really interesting because it's I can really identify with this. Free Thinkers Club is Cage of Mind was being stuck in the place, but really it's like Free Thinkers Club is like, I don't know, like Fight Club or something. It's just like, you're like, yo, come on over to the Free Thinkers Club. Like we've got to this place where I'm like, I want to hear what you think, like what you really think, you know?
So the way that I look at it, and this kind of just popped up to me right now, but I still enjoy it. So the last thing that really irked me, especially here in Portland, and all love to Portland, this is a great place full of a lot of really, really great people. I found a lot of my identity here, you know, my transformation as an individual. But one of the things that really kind of bugged me was this whole notion of, well, hey, can't talk about that. This is a safe space, right? And I'm like, dude, I get it. In certain places, if you really don't want, hey, no politics here, let's just keep it fun, keep it friendly, that's a safe space for that. Cool. But the connotation of the word shifted, right? And if anything, I'm like, okay, well, I have to create a safe space to hear opinions I don't agree with. You know what I mean?
We have
like,
to create a safe space to actually chop it up.
For criticism, right? Because I grew up on constructive criticism all the time. And maybe that's my own, my own upbringing. I shouldn't project that onto others. But my whole thing was, when I was a kid, I could not take criticism worth anything, because I'm like, why are you attacking me? Why are you being mean to me? Why can't you just say something nice? Until I realized, my dad would tell me all the time, he was like, you don't understand, this is constructive criticism, bro. Like, I'm trying to help you, and you're not understanding I'm trying to help you. Was the delivery right? Maybe not, you know what I mean? But as I got older, as the years passed on, I said, hey man, if you didn't do that and say those things to me, I probably would have thought things were good, and it never would have made me want to get better. It never would have gave me a chip on my shoulder. So I think that's the thing, is like, people don't want that chip on their shoulder. They don't want to get better. But oftentimes we kind of mask ourselves through that. So we don't even take ourselves to the logical thought process of, oh, I don't want to be better. It's just like, no, that's not how things are supposed to be. And then, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's tough. You can't speak for everybody, right? Because this is generalities I'm speaking, but.
Yeah. Well, and at a certain point, it's like, I feel like I can't cover all the bases. It's not possible, and all the different perspectives. So it's like, I just got to point out what I see, you know what I mean? And maybe I'm wrong, I'm like, green, but like, maybe it's not green.
Sorry,
and maybe
bro, that's lime green, actually.
Maybe we're in a simulation. Maybe that's not even a plant.
Yeah.
But at this point, like, we have to be able to talk about tangible things, Like,
I totally agree. Let me just ask you this really quickly, man. If you said something right now, and you know what I mean, we're talking about music, right? And it's not the same thing as politics, but I know you love jazz music, right? I know you sit there doing your licks on the sax and all that, and if I came in and it says, I cannot fathom why people like jazz music, it is an atrocity and I should not be forced to listen to it, I'm almost positive from all of my interactions with you, you'd be like, oh, okay, bro. And then we would continue having a conversation.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be I can't, all right, that's it, we're wrapping up. Let's put the mic away, put everything away, you know what I mean? But that's the thing, is like, it's like, that's it, man. Have opinions. Don't be married to the opinions. I don't want to, quote Joe Rogan, but that's Rogan all day. Don't be married to the opinion, man. It's just an intangible thing. You know what I mean? It's like,
and I'm like, I'm not even sure. I'm trying to work this out. We're all just trying to work this out, you know? So getting to a place where we're not able to work it out anymore, I'm like, evade thought police.
Yeah, exactly. Put it on, right? You know what I mean? Just like, hey guys, come on over. But
I'm like, I don't care what side you're on anymore. I'm like, we just can't.
Isn't it like a comedian who doesn't get to work out their sets, and then you just have to perform, and then you're like, I don't even know what I'm saying here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we need a place for verbal sparring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because what is... If I'm going to ask you this question, I already know the answer, so I don't want to set you up for anything, and if you don't get it, I'll just tell you immediately. But what is the point of politics? If you had to just take a guess in the grand scheme of things, what is the purpose of politics?
I mean, working out how we're going to live life.
Sure. On a grand scheme, like international politics, I would say that the difference between war and politics is war without killing each other. We're verbally at war. That's politics. That's why I'm going to set up legislation. I'm going to set up this thing. I'm going to put it in a way. I'm going to put tariffs on your country. Like, I'm going to war with you, but I don't have to fight you. I don't have to drop a nuke on you. And we've evolved to that point where, fortunately, we get to do that, right? Not everything needs to result in bloodshed and people losing loved ones and all that, right? So if you're taking away that aspects of politics, you're leaving people with more or less no other choice but to say, okay, so when I see you, we gonna chunk them, or we gonna do something, right? And what do I want more? I'm gonna quote Tristan Alvarado of the Friendly Fighter podcast, man, because this dude's a former boxer who knows how to use his hands, but he said, bro, I would much rather you just give me an hour. Let's just talk it out, because I guarantee you at the end of that hour, you won't want to fight me. And that's where we need to go, right? That's why conversations are important, not monologues, not, hey, I'm double masking on Skype at home by myself and I'm yelling at you and telling you how
don't when they tap on the screen.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, how about we take a break and how about you come meet up? I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want to do nothing like that. Let's just have a conversation, bro. Yeah. Please, you know, I'll be on that side too. Please, let's just, come on, for me, you know, just come on, humor me. Let's have a conversation.
When I'm like, if I think so differently than you, I want you to have an opportunity to change my mind, because like I said before, it's like I'm not even sure. I'm trying to work all this stuff out and I'm being honest about that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I am happy to, if it's constructive, like I'm like, convince me.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of crazy issues going on, and the other thing too is that a lot of people don't know is, I mean, I spend probably 3 to 5 hours every day watching news stuff.
Sure.
You know, so like I'm caught up, you know,
Sure.
and people want to like slang these cliche things at me, you know. I'm like, you think I ain't heard that too?
Yeah.
You know, my perspective comes from the fact that I heard all these people say all this stuff, and then I'm also looking at the world, and you know what I mean? So when somebody comes out with me with some just cliche talking points, I'm like, that's not even you.
Yeah, the thing that I've convinced myself at this point is you can't use reason to convince somebody into an opinion that they didn't logically jump to. You know what I mean? They didn't use reason themselves. They just formed an opinion. You know, they said, hey, this team, this is their ideology. Okay, that's what it is. You didn't use logic. You didn't take any of those steps. You didn't do the Socratic, you know, method or oath or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? You didn't do none of that stuff. And that's the big downfall, man. Like we spoke on it a little bit before we started this, man. Like I went to school, I graduated with health sciences, right? So their whole entire thing is scientific method. You know, there's an approach to the way that you examine the world. And in science, you have one job literally. That's to disprove theories. It's not to prove anything. You do not prove anything in science. If you say my job is to prove something in science, you're a terrible scientist. You didn't go to school, something went wrong.
You're working at a motive is what you're doing.
Exactly, right? You know, so your whole point is you just disprove everything because the base of science is skepticism. But I do have to say, it's even like it's hypocritical of me to say that, because there is such thing, believe it or not, that they teach us called scientific dogma. And it's like, how can we have dogma if our whole entire point is to defeat dogma? Like the podcast, right? Like a healthy dose of skepticism keeps the dogma away, because if there's nothing in life that should be dogmatically believed, right? You should have to say, hey man, I want to believe this. Trust me, I want to believe it with all of my heart. I just got to have an inkling of something that shows like this is actually the case, as opposed to, listen, I can say that the sky is green all day long, and I can go ahead, hey, or Chicken Little, the sky is falling, right? You know what I mean? I can scream it to the top of my lungs all day long, and everyone else can just look at me like I'm just the tweaker on the street, like, all right, pal, you know what I mean? But like, to me, it's real. So I guess that lends itself into the other notion, right? Of we've lost what truth is, and now it's like, well, my truth is this, your truth is that, their truth is that. What happened to the truth? Does that exist anymore?
Well, and it's like, it's cool if you want to, I think there's a lot of space for like, I'm like, was this a simulation? Like,
yeah,
you know, or there's a lot of space for like that, but I think that the boundaries of what's in here is starting to come out here.
Sure.
And there's got to be that mutual respect thing where it's like, I feel like the mutual respect is no longer there. It's just like this like really aggressive, like, you have to think like this, and believe me, and this is my experience, you know. And I'm just like, I mean, I feel like I just can't respond well to that, because it doesn't give me any space to understand.
Where do you see that more, in person or on social media?
Oh, that's a good point.
Just because on social media people are so bold, and people are so bold, like they say crazy things on social media. I'm just like, yo, like, all right, dude, I know you in real life. I know you don't speak to people like that. Like, this is nuts. But hey, you feeling like you got a real bravado. So yeah, where do you see it personally?
You know, I see it mostly on social media, but I think maybe that's just my feeling from having been locked in.
Indoors, right? You know,
but I think it's evidence in the city, man, and the you know.
I will say this, because I have to play devil's advocate, right? I can't be preaching. You saw me on one side, right? This whole entire beginning of this conversation, that was me just kind of on one side of it. But now doing the fair thing and assessing it from the other side, man. I think that we always hear about these crazy lefty people, right? We hear, oh, they're so crazy. But in my experience, I've lived out here for about 5+ years, right? I just don't see them in person. I hear of them. Like, they're like these magical entities. Like, they're these unicorns, right?
Yeah.
But in my day-to-day, man, I haven't had not one person spaz on me. Maybe it's because it's the way that I carry myself. Maybe it's because I'm not inciting an issue. I don't want no problem. I do not want the confrontation. Let me go about my business. How about that? I don't barely even talk to people anyways, right? So I don't see it in person very often, but I do see it being placed on Portland, even if it's like, it could be some wacky video from somewhere else in the country that, oh, must be those Portlanders again. When all this stuff, craziness was happening out here, that was wrongfully covered by the media, you know what I mean? One trash can lit on fire, all of a sudden we have riots in the city, you know what I mean? Weird stuff, right? But when Rogan was doing his whole thing on Portland, he was saying a bunch of crazy things about Portland. I think that just amplifies and magnifies the situation, because I was getting calls from my grandma talking about, like, are you alive, dude? Like, you know, and I'm like, bro, trust me, grandma, where we live, you know, where you live right now, it's a lot more dangerous there than it is out here. Like, trust me, dude. You know what I mean? I moved here so I don't have to look over my shoulder anymore. But that's the being fair, right? It's just saying we can attribute a lot to social media, and we can also attribute a lot to, you know, and I don't want to get too deep into it, but people who are provocateurs, you know what I mean? Some people say malicious, outlandish things because they know it'll get a response. And that's where you have to take the time to differentiate between the individuals who actually mean what they say, and the people who are saying, oh, this is the next fad, this is the next wave. I know I can go viral on TikTok if I go and just post this like liberal leaning message or this conservative leaning message, right? So we have to really be careful, because there are people who care about politics truly and humanity and all that. And then there's people who's like, I'm just looking every single day at the best path to raise my ranking in social media, which is not even real, because if they take Instagram away, you take TikTok away, you take Facebook away, what are you? Who are you? And that's when we have to lean back on the grand scheme of, hey man, I'm a human, you're a human, we are team human. And right now, this is the closest we've ever been in human history to knowing if there's truly like aliens out there doing stuff right now. So we really all need to get on team human, because when the aliens roll through like some Vikings, you know what I mean? Like, hey, here to take your land, buddy. You know what I mean? Listen, being divided like this.
Independence Day, bro.
Come on, man. But like, I'm just saying, listen, you know, we're gonna have to come together, because they're using the oldest military tactic in the book, which is divide and conquer. You know, I'm not saying the aliens are, but somebody is.
Let me jump back on this protest though.
Please.
Did you go down there for any of that?
For this round, or
like last summer?
No, so I did not. And the reason why I didn't is because first it was the height of COVID, and I'm not gonna lie, right? At first, as we all were, we were rightly like, oh, I'm a little scared,
I was
bro.
super sketched.
Yeah.
I was purposefully not getting in the crowd and purposefully standing upwind from the crowd, so whatever way the wind was blowing,
going the opposite way.
I'm telling you, that's how weird I was about
But
it.
like, no, I didn't go, and because the reason why is because I went to when Donald Trump got elected out here, I went to those protests, right, that turned into riots, and that was the first wave of things that started happening,
like
right?
The very first riot.
Yeah, so I went to that, and what I saw was so, like, literally hundreds, I don't want to say thousands, because I can't even try to fathom thousands and thousands of people, but it was like hundreds to maybe a couple thousand people marching, doing their whole thing all throughout the city. And what I see is that we even did this. Listen, I never protested before in my life. This was like my, like, oh, I'm officially a Portlander now. Okay, here we go. So listen, I was not my president. Was he our president? I mean, he was, but listen, not my president, all that good stuff, right? But we're still doing the sit-in, right? Where it's silent, we're all sitting and whatnot. So calm, so peaceful, so many nice people, so, you know, all that. We keep marching, and then you see like two people out of like 1,000, maybe 1,500 people, right? Two people, maybe three, walk up past an automobile dealership, and they started smashing up the windows. I don't know if you remember that, but that was the thing that incited, oh, they're rioting, you know what I mean? And who's to say it wasn't an agent provocateur, man? These dudes all are wearing black garb, all have military style equipment, combat boots. I mean, people out here that are from Portland, y'all rock Doc Martens. You're not wearing combat boots. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a difference, right? So when I saw that made me...
Those cats are down at Andean backs getting there.
Come on, bro. But that made me just sit here and say, like, okay, I kind of get it now. You know what I mean? We're here to accomplish nothing. We're here to virtue signal and say, hey, you know, like... RIP to all of the people who have lost their lives. That is absolutely nothing to play around with, regardless of what the case was, man. We don't want to celebrate anyone losing their life or anything like that. So, you know, when it was the George Floyd situation or the more recent things that have been occurring or whatnot, man, yes, but let's not use these people let's not put these people on a pedestal, because I don't think a lot of people are truly honoring the individual. More, they're honoring the ideology of what happened to the individual, which became ACAB, and I'll let you take your interpretation of whatever you think that is, because it has changed so many times since the inception of the word, it seems like. But Yeah, at the end of the day, man, that's a very long way to answer. No, I didn't go to these last round of protests.
Yeah, this not this just last round, but
Sure.
but
Was it the bridge one with the photo?
it was during that time.
Do you know the story about that photo?
No.
You don't know the story? Do you want me to tell you the story?
Yeah.
So I know, and this isn't a abridged version of the story, and I'm gonna make this super simple and very, yeah. So white man takes a picture of black suffering, you know what I mean? Which is all these people doing a die-in on the bridge, right?
Yeah.
And being mad over George Floyd and all of that stuff. So a white individual says, I'm gonna do a drone shot, take these beautiful photos. They were beautiful in my opinion, truly.
For sure.
So shout out to dude for just like, you know, your photography skills right there. But ultimately it was, oh yeah, we're gonna donate this to like a cause that matters, right? And then when pressed on it by an individual named Gio, right, that I'm affiliates with, he kind of pressed him like, yo, bro, like,
Where'd
what
that
the
money
fuck?
go?
What's up, bro? You know, who are you? What are you gonna do with the money? That type of stuff, right? And what it turned out to, he was like, oh well, I don't really have a plan for this, but like I was hoping maybe you could point me in the right direction. And then it was like, all right, bro, you can't be sitting here making money off of dead black people's names right now, especially, like, people have been doing this forever, but especially now. You can't do this, right? So what happened? Eventually, after all this commotion, after getting called out on it, after things being posted online, you know, and kind of doxing in a way, which is terrible. It truly is. You shouldn't dox people because, like I said, man, when you want to start playing with people's personal safety, that's a game, I promise you people, you do not want to go down.
Yeah.
We all want to avoid that. So at the end of the day, I believe part of the funds, either like half or all of it or something, went to like Don't Shoot PDX or something, which a lot of, I mean, even the Apple Store just teamed up with Don't Shoot PDX, right? And they've had their own issues. All of these advocacy groups have had their own issues. Nobody is perfect. No group is perfect. But ultimately, what we saw was, let's get rid of this racism, right? Which is black people or white people using black people for, let's be honest, man. We only see Mexican and black imagery on, you know, the billboards on the Nike store when they're wearing Cortezes. You got a Mexican chick up there, or you got a black dude playing basketball or whatever. It's like, come on, bro. You know, like, we need representation, but in a better way than that, right? So when we do get the representation, it's in such a negative connotation where a white person was potentially going to be profiting off of that, which just reiterates the cycle of just like, all right, have we accomplished nothing then? Was all of this for nothing? So that's ultimately the story, and it goes to show that even when you want to do something in the right name or whatever the case may be, there is this whole white guilt out here, which I don't necessarily agree with, because you shouldn't be guilty for something that, you know, happened when you weren't alive, that you didn't partake in, you know what I mean? Maybe unintentionally, but guess what? We unintentionally partake in the massacres of a ridiculous amount of people, slave labor, fucking animals getting fucked up, like, excuse my language, but we participate in all of that, like, right now.
Yeah.
Like, these clothes, these sweats, I'm sure somebody...
I always think that about the cats who are all repping Nike. I'm like...
Yeah. I'm like, come on, bro. I
think I got Nikes on.
But it's like some 6-year-old probably made these sweats. Yeah. Somebody made your iPhone. Somebody who, in a poor situation, poorer than your situation, made the stuff that you're using, and that's just the name of the game. That's the cost-benefit analysis that you play when you make these purchases. But that's basically what it is, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's so problematic and difficult to even try to make positive change out here because, well, you can't take that picture because there's black people there and you're white, so doesn't, you know, so it's like, it's tough.
Yeah, it's complicated too, because the picture, in the moment, it actually served its purpose.
Yeah.
You know, like, it inspired people, you know?
In the moment, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, life's complex, you know, and this whole thing's complex.
But that's it, and I just want to point on that finally, and I'll, you know, obviously let you do your thing, but like, this thing isn't black and white, man. You know what I mean? People are so like, team yes, team no. It's like, how about it's the middle, dude? It's just like, yeah, like, you know, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Like, it just kind of is that way, you know?
Well, because, like, I grew up, I got a Che Guevara flag on my wall, you know? It's just like, I, you know, always repping Babo and, you know, just like, I mean, if you looked at my bookshelf, it's like, I mean, we've talked about it before, you know? But his, like... When I was down at those protests, I went down. That's when I filmed that music video, Villains. Like, it's all my footage, you know. Like, I've never. This is gonna make me sound probably like a saltine cracker, but I don't feel like I've really ever experienced racism like I did while I was down there.
So give me an example.
The way, like, the hate pouring out of these people's pores, you know? I was down there, like, I tasted it and smelled it, you know what I mean? Like, for those nights where they were around the federal building, you know, it scared the fuck out of me, man.
Sure.
I was just like, for all these people who are so loving to like be capable of this level of vitriol
It's that mob
and
mentality.
like venom, you know,
Yeah.
like it scared me, dude, you know, and they definitely like, there's right wing, left wing, they're both taking cut clips and making each other look bad, but like that all aside, like when I went down there and tasted it myself, I was like, this is racism.
Yeah.
This is racism. You know, it's racism against white people, which is
But you
sad.
can't be racist against white people, right? And that's what people will say. And it's like, I don't even want to mock that, but it's just so ridiculous to me. Like, as a statement to say, when I've heard this literally my whole life, bro, from black people, from white, from people of all colors.
I've heard it.
If you're black, you can't be racist. I'm just like, you ain't met a lot of people I know that, man, because I know a lot of, like, people also don't understand, right? Outside of the United States, because the United States, while we have our colorful history, you would be surprised that you could look at two individuals who, one's from Japan and one's from China, or one from Japan or one from Korea or something like that, and they have a ridiculous amount of disdain towards each other because of historical events that have occurred, right?
Yeah.
The Japanese were pretty wild, bro. Go like read a book or something, right, about the history of Japan, because those dudes were doing crazy stuff. If you even look back at the Vietnam War, North Vietnam versus South Vietnam, like, they're killing each other. Literally, it's a civil war.
Yeah.
But you look like each other, right? You can't be racist if you're Asian, right? You know? And it's that same thing. It's just not, it's not intuitive. It's not logical.
Well, it's in this bubble, you know, and actually, and I think it's because of how white this city is, honestly.
Yes.
Is because it's like they're like almost felt like the most guilt, so it manifested this like really harsh.
Can we highlight
kickback
that really quickly? Because I think that even living here, some people forget it sometimes, right? Last time that I checked the demographic out here, I think it was like 94% white.
Is it?
Like ridiculous. Like I'm talking about like ridiculous, right? Like 2% black, 3% black, something like that. And obviously we got a lot of other people to account for, right? Mexican, Asian, all these other different cultures.
But you know, it just kind of maybe skews the way that people see things too. You're like, the whole world's just white people.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, you live in a place where, you know, and I knew that coming into it. I know, well, at least that's what I heard. I was just, but hey, it's a lot of white people out there, and I'm like, all right, well,
and it's true.
I'm like, but it's just white people. Like, you ain't gonna scare me. You know, what are we talking about, right?
Yeah.
But it's just the whole entire viewpoint of, like, when I'm seeing these things around town, right? And obviously, folks, if you don't know, right? I'm sure you could, if you're watching this, you could see I'm a brown individual, right?
Yeah. I'm really pale. It's been 2 winters since I've seen any sun.
Yeah, right? That the Portland lack of sun definitely, you know, definitely hurts a little bit, right? In terms of the complexion, the melanin right there. But
COVID didn't do me any good.
Come on, man. I'm seeing these signs around town, and I don't know how to feel about them. And this is coming from a brown individual, right? I'm black, I'm Mexican, I'm French, I'm all these types of different things, right? I keep hearing black lives are sacred. Black people are sacred. You do not touch black people and shit. And I'm just like, so you like said, okay, we're gonna take you from a second-class citizen to we're gonna overcompensate to the absolute extreme and say you are now sacred individuals. Last time that I checked, the term sacred holds a lot of weight, right? You're like turning someone to a deity to a degree, right? You're literally worshiping a group. Why? Is it because of the content of their character? Is it because they're a good human being? Is it because they've done anything for their community? Is it because any of the things that we literally sit here and say, this is how you should judge a person?
On an individual level.
What do? We say, oh, you have more melanin receptors and, you know, you have more melanin expression in your body than I do, therefore you are a sacred individual. Now, don't get me wrong, that just sounds a little too close to the Aryan race is the supreme race. That just sounds a little too close.
It's all I'm saying.
And I'm just sitting here saying, like, listen, all I want is to be able to, like, walk down the street and not have people clutch their bags when they see me. Not have people, like, cross the street when I'm walking down. Now, we do that for COVID now because we just don't even want to be next to each other. But before that, man, even when I lived in Santa Barbara. Yeah, when I lived in Santa Barbara, man, I'd get the same treatment. And I looked a little more hood back then, I'm not gonna lie. You know, I've cleaned it up a little bit, you know, but just because I see you got somebody with braids or you got somebody, you know, wearing Nike Cortezes or whatever. Now maybe out here in Portland it's not a big deal, but where I grew up, that's a big deal, and people will judge you out the ass. You're a gangbanger if you got these shoes on. You know what I mean? So it's that type of stuff. I just want to drop all that, and we can walk down the street and I say, like, hey, you're a person, I'm a person. Obviously I have my guard up because this is the real world, and in the real world people hurt people for very foolish reasons. Yeah. But your color of your skin doesn't fucking mean anything to me. It doesn't. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, when I look at you, I'm not gonna lie, lie, ambiguous. I can't pinpoint anything. I'm just like, oh, okay, got some melanin in them, but that's it. Why do we even need to take a step further unless I want to talk to you about your culture?
When people always tell me too on that level, they're like, don't you want to go back to Puerto Rico? Those are your people. Like something. And I'm like, yo, look, first of all,
they don't
it's
know
so
me.
complicated. Don't put that on me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what's up in Puerto Rico? First of all, it's a U.S. colony.
Yeah.
Second of all, the Spanish language, like I never really learned Spanish. I've always kind of regretted it, but like at the same time, people, they put this on me like, that's your people, you know? But I'm like, Spanish is the language of the people who colonized those people. So it's like saying to like an African American, like, you should speak English. You know what I mean? Like way in the future, looking back, oh, you're African American, you should speak English.
Don't you want to speak the language
like,
of your people?
Like the original people on Puerto Rico were called Taínos, and they were taken over by the conquistadors, and they taught them Spanish. You know what I'm saying? So for me to go back to Puerto Rico now, because I need to like get in touch with my people or whatever, I'm like, and you're gonna guess who says that to me?
I'm sure I could get close to that one, but it's
no,
like,
that's tongue in cheek. That's not even true.
No, but it's similar. It's similar to an individual. I would say that it's like a black man living in Louisiana, and you say, don't you want to like go back to Africa and all that? Be like, you know that we like our influences here are French. Did you like, you know that? Well, I went to Louisiana. I was in New Orleans a couple years back, man, and just learning about the history out there, it made me so sad, man. The U.S. has such a depressing history in terms of black people in this country.
Lots of fucked up shit happens.
But at the end of the day, that's everywhere else too, man. So when I hear my little sad story, and I'm like, oh, poor me, you know what I mean? I take a step back and I say, well, hey, man, like, I didn't have to go through any genocide, man. My people immigrated here, but they did it the legal way. And I'm not saying that like you're wrong for doing it the illegal way or like the, you know, just trying to make it, but like it obviously wasn't in a point to where it was such desperation where they had to say, fuck it, I can't even legally try. I just have to flee and just go and just see what happens, right? So like my family has had strokes of luck. Now, at the end of the day, by saying that I had a family member that had to immigrate here in order for me to be here, well, that obviously puts me down in the totem pole in terms of hierarchy in this country, right? Because I'm not so what I mean by that is just the public perception. I'm an American, I'm pure blood, I'm from Kansas, America, you know? Versus, oh yeah, I'm from Mexico, but like my parents don't speak English, they're Mexican, you know what I mean? But like I'm here and I'm American and I've lived in America, I was born here my whole life. You're not the same type of citizen. Would you agree just in public, general ass public perception?
I don't agree, but I think that is probably a whole long conversation.
just give me a quick hit on there on like what would make the person who was born in Idaho, you know, the person who was born in Kentucky, knows nothing but Kentucky, to see that person and to treat them with the same respect as they do their fellow Kentuckian or their fellow.
I don't think it matters what other people think about so and so.
Oh no, I mean if we take that approach, none of that whole entire sentence meant nothing.
I think that's what we should be teaching people. Okay. Because at a certain point, we have to draw the line. It's like, and like I'm like it kind of sounds like we're brushing off all this like the evils of history, like oh whatever, you know, it's like bad shit happens, but it's like no, I'm saying like, what are we gonna do? We're here right now.
Yeah,
a bunch of bad shit happened. I don't want to continue the McCoy and the Hatfields thing where we keep killing each other's ancestors forever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's gotta, as eventually, like when I was growing up, my dad would say this to me all the time. You got to be the bigger man. He said the bigger man walks away.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
True.
The bigger man doesn't fight. You know what I'm saying? So like, to draw the line in the sand, maybe even take a few hits from the other side, and just like respond with compassion. You know?
I love that, but in this country, that approach turns you into a martyr.
Real fast.
You know, because when I think of that, I think Muhammad Ali. I think, hey, man, like, listen.
But those are all the people that changed things, that really changed things.
Exactly. You know? And believe it or not, man, I considered myself up for the possibility of becoming a martyr. I actually thought in my head at one point in my life, I was like, listen, man, like, I'm willing to take the stand because I want things to change so bad. I just want change. Even if I have to suffer for it, so be it. I want the change. Until I told a family member of mine and someone I really respect, my uncle, and he was just like, the fuck is wrong with you? He was like, he's like, you know people love you, right? You know you have a family that cares about you. You know how selfish that is? And I was just like, I thought I was doing the selfless thing, like, wait, you know, and then you don't realize, yeah, you know, we might not feel it every day. Maybe we're out living our lives, but it's a real disservice to the people who truly do care about you. You know what I mean? Yeah, will you be known in history forever, right? Like, we love Muhammad Ali now, but back then people fucking hated him.
Well, imagine what happens to his family.
Exactly.
They dox your family.
Yeah.
And they dox your mom and dad.
Look at the Martin Luther King situation, right? It's kind of similar situation. Look at the Coretta King. You know what I mean? You look at Yeah, man, that's a whole rabbit hole right there. But ultimately, just like, let's take the positive part of it. What you said is the key, is to say, this is a circle. We must break it. We must break it. Life is a circle in a weird way, but we must break it, and we must take a couple on the chin, man, in order for the greater good of humanity. But the ego is the thing that stops us. So good for us out here in Oregon, where, you know, drugs are decriminalized. Let's just all do ayahuasca. How about we all just do ayahuasca, bro, and we just go on a trip?
I thought you was gonna say smoke a joint, but
we're going. Let's
right.
go grab a shaman, take
Yeah.
a big group trip up. You know what I'm saying? To the mountains, do some ayahuasca next to a waterfall, and then we'll come out loving each other, probably to a fault. People don't believe it now, but I do think that we can reach a point where we can love each other too much. Everything in moderation. It sucks and it's boring, but it's true.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Let me check this real quick.
No, please.
I want to make sure we're still. Great. Still running. Let me check this. Still running. Good.
Not perfect.
All right, man. Well, let's talk about your future.
Please.
So you're thinking about moving, or you're definitely moving?
I'm getting out of here, man.
Yeah,
just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Going to the desert, and that's as broad as I'm going to leave it. And the reason why is because it's a new chapter, man. Listen, nothing is set in stone, nothing is certain. So right now, let's say the place that I have lined up falls through. Well, I'm getting out to that desert somehow, some way. You know what I mean? I grew up in Modesto, California, which more or less is a desert of its own. You know, extreme temperatures, so extreme highs, extreme lows. And living out here, the climate is perfect. Everything is perfect. You know, you got hiking trails over here. You got a waterfall right down there. You got to go to the beach, hour drive, right? But I've come to the realization, and I'm hoping that I could find what I'm looking for. Now, I do understand this advice. I know this is long-winded, but the advice that I've gotten, which is dig in your own backyard, because all the resources you need are there, and I really love that. But the people are what make a place anything. The last job I worked, it was very important, because the big boss, the big person, president person, was all like, what makes this place different than just any other abandoned building out on the street? And nobody had a good answer. But I was like, the people inside of it, you know what I mean? It kind of makes a place what it is, right? So I don't want to be negative here, but it's the people of this city that have just kind of made me say, I gotta go, man. I gotta go find a people who are a little less about the virtue signaling, less about the performative activism, and more about, hey man, like, I respect your right as an American, right? Because context matters. We are in America, right? So rules would be different in other places.
For sure.
But people who can understand and appreciate the power and the importance of the Constitution, right? The Bill of Rights, the things that make us American, the things that people have died for years and years and years.
I got to jump in, but
please,
no, I just got a note on that.
Okay, no, for sure. And I mean, I guess ultimately, like, I want people who are going to respect my freedom the same way I respect theirs. Because what I have here, it's one-sided. I respect your freedom. Wear a mask. Wear 5 masks if you want. Like, go crazy, dude. I don't care. But if I step out of my house and you start screaming at me, hey, put your mask on, I'd be like, okay, first off, how about, you know, because if we really want to get into it, don't be sitting here looking at me at 2:50 eating McDonald's every day talking about my mask is the shit that's the worst for your fucking health, bro. Like, don't do that, because you're going to be playing with somebody. It's like, people who sound smart to a dumb person don't impress me. You want to talk? Well, guess what? The Free Thinkers Club is for dialogue. It's for banter and it's for back and forth engagement. So we can get it. It doesn't have to be hostile. But if you want to enter the discussion, the marketplace of free ideas, which is...
We're going to have to talk, man.
We're going to have to bring a couple things up, and you're not going to like it. And I'm going to make you, you know, swallow a couple, you know, hard truth pills, right? I don't even want to go that red pill nonsense, right? But you're going to have to swallow a couple really hard truth pills, and it's going to be rough, because... I wish things were all like daisies and roses, man. I really do, but that's not the reality of the world, and I don't want to get too soft out here, man. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
Stay hard. Stay hard.
Get out to the desert.
But please.
Feel some extreme, some cold water,
Exactly.
Wim Hof style, you know?
Come on, man. I start off just real fast. I'm going to let you get in there, man. For the last 16 days, it's become a new part of my life. I start every shower that I take every single day. I started off first week, 30 seconds, ice water, right? Next week, a minute. Next week, a minute and a half. I'm at 2 minutes now. Bro. I'm telling you, man, it makes you appreciate that the shower at the end of the day, that thing that we use as a luxury that so many people don't have access to around the world, it is a tool. It is not a source of pleasure. That is what a shower is.
Yo, I feel you.
So, I just wanted to leave with that.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean that's cool. But yeah,
Yeah.
I feel you.
Not everyone has that privilege, I guess. We all talk about privilege and shit. You lucky you have a shower. How about that? So,
Yeah, and just what that does for your body too is just good.
yeah.
But no, just speaking about the Constitution and all that, I feel like with the left-right thing, I almost just like I've wanted an opportunity to speak about this on camera, so to speak.
Sure.
Is that I've been thinking about this a lot lately because I've through this whole thing I've studied a lot of stuff on the right just to like understand, you know, because I don't want to be like all those people are crazy, you know. It's like, well, what's crazy? What did they say that was crazy? I had to go look, you know.
Yeah.
So now that I've looked, it's just like the people on the right happen to be the only ones who still understand like why the Constitution's important.
Sure.
So as soon as you be like Constitution anything, everyone's like, oh, this American, you know,
Yeah.
right wing or whatever. But it's just like, I feel like, and I'm a little bit of a government conspiracy theorist too, to be honest, and not from any right wing stuff. I've been like that my whole life,
Yeah,
like
just
from
skeptical.
Bush and fucking, you know. But to me, I see that the media right now and the ethos of the culture is, I feel like we're being manipulated to see these people as crazy because they're the only ones who are still protecting the Constitution.
Yeah.
And the Constitution, as far as like the Enlightenment principles in the West is concerned, it's like most of human history has been tyranny and bloodshed and like sticking hot pokers up each other's butts. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like,
no, seriously.
So when the founders came out here, they were like, yo, look, first of all, everybody's equal under God, you know. And yeah, they had slaves and that it took them time to work that out. But they're like, first of all, everybody's equal. Second of all, you get a right to protect.
Yeah.
Or, you know, no, first one's freedom of speech. Sorry. You get to say and believe whatever you want.
Second,
and second
bear
of all,
arms.
you
Yeah.
get to protect that right from tyrannical government because most of human history has been tyrannical government and kings and shit. So it's like the only people on the planet I feel like who still hold that like individualism value happen to be these like rednecks or whatever, you know. And so we're being convinced that these people are crazy because they're the last line of defense. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you. And what's even like more crazy is like when you take a step back and think about it, right? So the First Amendment, right? The number one thing that's important to us is the right of free speech, right? The right to be able to criticize your government without going missing, right? Without, what happened to that Derick guy? I don't know. He was over there criticizing the government. I haven't heard from him since, right? Like that happens in other places. It just happened to the dude from Alibaba in China. They're like, yeah, man, you're just gonna go missing for a couple weeks, dude. And then if you don't get on track with what we want, man, a lot more where that came from, right? But ultimately, what's crazy is people that are super lefty, right? Team blue, right on. I wish there was better names or less connotations for it because I simply just want to like talk about a group of individuals as opposed.
I like blue team, red team.
Yeah, you know, but like whatever, right? So it's like this group, and I'm gonna talk about the people who are the spokespeople for the group because you can't include everybody in the group, right? There's a lot of people. Like for myself, I identified as blue for the longest time.
They just want to be good people on both sides.
Yeah,
honestly.
exactly. But this is the thing. So they spent all this time criticizing their government, right? All this time, all cops are bad, fuck the police. Literally, it says hang Ted Wheeler. We have that spray painted like right there on like 6th Street, you know what I mean? Going downtown.
Yeah.
You see the nuttiest things out here by people who are like, you guys know you're fucking nerds, dude. Like if I caught you doing, oh God, but that's another story, right? These people are criticizing their government. They're saying atrocious things to their government. They're literally, if you want to take it into no context, right? You're threatening to literally like commit an assassination on the leader of your city, right?
Like any other country in the whole entire world.
But these are the same people that are saying, hey, that Constitution thing? Yeah, no. Did you know for the vast majority of human history that people thought that slavery would never be ended? Well, it could be the same thing with the police. It could be the same thing with the Constitution. You cannot say what you're saying if that piece of paper didn't exist. You understand? You know what I mean?
They
that
don't
like
understand.
this whole thing that we call life out here, especially people who were born and raised in Portland, like no disrespect to anybody who is, because that's awesome, and I wish I was, but I wasn't. You know what I mean? But when I see TriMet and what you do, if you're listening, you're not from Portland. TriMet is a private company that is basically the buses, the trains, right, the public transit out here. Yeah. They do their own thing. When I first moved here, I thought it was public, so I was even more mad because I'm like, bro, I'm paying taxes for y'all to smash up all the beautiful screens and all the beautiful sheltering little spots right here. You just got a context, man. Where I grew up at, we do not have that. That doesn't exist, right? Now, do we got buses and all that? Yeah, of course, right? But this is so beautiful and immaculate out here, and to see it smashed up time and time again, literally, I'm just like, bro, you don't appreciate what you have, and you're also saying fuck the Constitution, and you're also saying fuck the police and fuck all these people, who's gonna stop you if I decide one day I want to fuck you up? Who are you gonna call? Ghostbusters? Well, they ain't gonna help you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wanting to act like all the people before us didn't like work this shit out and like make all these laws and all this procedure to like work these complicated issues out. It's like, man, you just want to go back to like us working it out ourselves.
Do you know what the Wild West, that whole like cowboy shit you see, right? Do you know that was a reaction to, oh, civilization? They're gonna tell us what to do? You mean I can't just take something from somebody if I want it? Yeah, no, we're not gonna fuck with those guys, dude. That's what those guys were. Those were bandits. They're rebels, right? Those are people who's walking around with pistols. Like, all right, man, I'm walking in here. We're gonna be civil, but if you fuck around, we sharpshooting. It's gonna be a duel. You know what I'm saying? So I just say, like, listen. Obviously, how I can come off, you know what I mean, as I'm sounding like I'm just like talking crazy on these people. But at the end of the day, I'm just saying, like, people need to like record themselves talking and then listen back to it. And then hear how fucking stupid you sound. You know what I mean? Not everybody, because I sound very stupid a lot. I record a lot of audio of myself, man. So I got a lot of bad takes, right?
I was like, you know, from,
Yeah, but that's the thing. Literally, I know because I watch all of my stuff, too. A lot of people don't. They just record and they just keep going and they never watch this. You have to watch it because it shows you how ridiculous you look and sound. And especially when you're really staunch on something and you have a really solidified opinion of something and someone tries to talk you out of it, and instead of being receptive and open-minded, you're just trying to, you're not listening, but you already have something loaded up, ready to respond at. And I always equate it to boxing, right? In boxing, if someone throws a jab at me and I'm not paying attention for their jab, but all I know is I already have this jab ready to go, well, it's not going to be effective because I'm not reacting to what they're doing. Instead, I'm just saying, fuck it, I'm going to put out what I want to put out regardless, and it doesn't work. But if I react and I time that right hand over the top, you're going to sleep. So it's like we should take that approach. I look at martial arts and combat sports as a metaphor for life, you know what I mean? So I just think it's just like chess or anything else, you know?
Yeah. No, I dig that.
Yeah.
I dig how you work in life lessons into your fight.
Yeah,
talks.
I think that's the whole point of it, though. That's why I love it so much, is because that's the realest form of life to me. You know what I mean? And like, listen, we don't got to go too much on the stuff that I do because I know a lot of people really don't care. But that's why you see I'm wearing all factors considered mixed martial arts analysis, right? Like I'm not Cobra Kai, you know what I'm saying? But I love doing this fight talk stuff, and I think that if more people, if it was mandated, now I don't want to listen. I'm not going to enforce nothing. I'm not the president. I'm not the government, right? But if I had an option to mandate anything in terms of public curriculum, education-wise, one class would be philosophy. Right? We already talked about this. People need to learn philosophy. The other one would be either a basic self-defense course or a karate course or a jiu-jitsu course or a boxing course, to where people could say, all right, you're going to have to stand right in front of this person. And I know it's scary. I know you're scared to death. I know they look like a superhero to you standing in front of you, but I promise they're thinking the same thing about you. You know what I mean? Like, we're so scared of confrontation that what do? We say, well, I don't want to fight you. I'm going to run away. And once I get indoors, I'm going to fucking,
you get to your
you know
computer?
what I'm saying? Let me get my phone, bro. Let me get that phone and I'm going to tear you a new one.
Man.
But I'm going to run away from you when I see you in real life. But when we take away internet access, because guess what happens? If Russia or China says, hey, you know how we could fuck over those Americans? We ain't even got to drop a nuke on them. Let's just cut off their fucking internet grid. How about that? What are you going to do? I really want to just pose this to anybody listening right now. What are you going to do when the internet goes away? What are you going to do? What are you going to do what are you going to do when the internet goes away? What are you going to do when Instagram and Facebook and all these other things go away?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? Because so many of these people's identity and their whole life is literally just tailored around, I write funny things on Twitter. Please like me, guys. You know what I mean? But it's like, okay, well, who are you outside of that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What if I just took your phone away? Simple as that. I don't even got to cut down the internet. It's much more simpler. Take away your phone. Take away your computer. Rob your house.
So, do you fight too?
So I do not fight, and my goal is not to fight, but I train, right?
Yeah.
And you can ask me the follow-up that I always get. Oh, what are you training for? Training for life.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely training for life.
Yeah.
Because what I like about martial arts, right? So primarily, like earlier, I was just in the boxing gym today, right? You know, that's what I came from before. I came here after that, right? And the only reason that I'm only in the boxing gym and I'm not in like a jiu-jitsu gym or something like that is like I simply can't afford it. Shit's expensive, dude. It's like $150 a month. I got hosting fees for my podcast and all that. We got to get some jobs, some money and all that. But so I don't fight. I need my brain, and I think that taking unnecessary damage to the thing that is you, which is this thing in your noggin, is kind of unnecessary, because the old adage is this, man. Fighters, right? They're fighting because they don't have any other option.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I have a college degree. I have been put in a place in life where I've been able to carve out other options for myself. Now, does that mean that, oh, well, you're college educated, why are you even training if you're not going to fight? Once again, so the reason why is because it gives me confidence, man. I get to walk around with my head held high, knowing that if a confrontation does happen, not only do I know how to protect myself, but because I view myself as a martial artist, right? I have a responsibility and a wherewithal that is much higher than the average civilian that says like, hey man, you do not use these weapons unless you absolutely back against the wall. You have no other option. The reason why is because most people, it's the weirdest thing. I would never challenge LeBron James, or I play basketball, I still wouldn't challenge LeBron James. That'd be ridiculous. I get destroyed, right? But I wouldn't challenge someone to a baseball match. I don't even know, you can't do that one-on-one. I suck at baseball. I could barely hit the ball. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't do that because I know where I stand there. But it's really odd that most people, the vast majority of people who challenge others to a fight, do not know how to fight. Don't know how to throw a punch. Will break their thumb when they punch because they don't know how to ball a fist.
Or these two, or
it's these two. These are the ones that you hit with.
But those are the one people break, right?
Yeah, people
the small ones.
People do this all craziness. You know what I mean? They punch like this, and you know you don't know how to slip a jab. You don't know how to move your head. You don't know how to do any of that. You don't know how to stuff a takedown. If I put you on the ground and I manipulate your ankle, what are you gonna do? Nothing.
Yeah.
I'll tear your whole knee up. Like, what are you gonna do? So I'm not saying that I can do this, but with mixed martial arts, you can do that with jiu-jitsu and all these other martial arts. But I do it for the confidence, man. And it's not to be macho. This is not to be machismo, because when you're in these gyms, it's so counterintuitive. You think, oh, those are scary, tough guys. Bro, those nicest people. Yeah. Nicest people. Why? Because you don't feel the need to walk around with a false bravado, because you know you will really whoop somebody's ass if, like, push comes to shove. And that's the whole entire thing, man. So it's boxing all day right now, but I also cover the sport of combat sports, right, which is very wide. So whether I'm watching a Muay Thai match or a boxing match or mixed martial arts, the UFC specifically is what my show, All Factors Considered, covers. But that's it, man. You know, I love it so much. I love it because there's no faking, right? You can play basketball, you can play baseball, you can play soccer, you can't play fighting. As we just saw on UFC, folks, you know, I don't know when this is coming out, but it was Kamaru Usman knocked out George Masvidal, and I don't know if you could relate, right? He's a Cuban, he's not Puerto Rican, but he's you know, really like putting on for like all the Latin people. Latin people really got behind him, you know what I mean? And Kamaru Usman's from Nigeria, so it's a little harder to get behind if you don't have that roots or that connection or whatever. But this dude Masvidal was talking a gang mess, you know what I'm saying? Talking about this dude's got pillow hands, he can't hurt me, and what happens? He gets knocked out in front of everybody. First fight back, first event back with fans, about 20,000 fans in the arena. Of course, this took place in Florida, of course. But, you know, dude gets cold cocked, man. He's asleep. And it's like there's no other sport where it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. You just got knocked out in front of your whole family, you know what I mean? Your kids. Yeah. Your kids are watching. The first thing that this dude said is like, hey, everybody watching, first I need to let my kids know, like, daddy's okay. Like, I'm okay. That's heartbreaking, dude. That's heartbreaking. That's like, and that's real life, though. So imagine that's happening in a regulated sport. You know what people would do to you in real life? Come on, man.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Yeah.
So yeah,
no, but it's I think about that too, and with the same mentalities. I'd like to train. I took Taekwondo for several years when I was early teen.
Kick someone in their head, dude.
I mean, if I like squared up, I still have the muscle memory, you know. But I'd probably like pull a hammy. You
probably, if you ain't really getting active. But like, that's beautiful, man, and that's dope, because people will say those things and be like, oh, fucking, like, oh, I just took karate like when I was a kid. It's like, dude, there's nothing wrong with karate. There's nothing wrong with kung fu. Literally, kung fu is the art of self-defense, circular motion. Yeah. But people will be, oh, kung fu, what are you doing? Everybody was kung fu. Like, come on. But it's like, it's a joke until it's not.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And when it's not, and you can save your life
or others. That's the important thing right there. Not only do I have the ability to protect myself, but the people around me as well. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. Nobody's faster than a bullet. Don't get me wrong. Sure. I'm not fighting nobody with a gun. If you have a knife, I don't want any problems.
You're gonna do some disarm technique.
I am going to run my ass the other direction. That's what I'm going to do. No, but in seriousness, though, man, you have the ability to protect your loved ones, man. What's more important than that? What's the worst thing that can happen to you as a human? You could be a cuck, right? You know, in the weird way, or in the way where you're bound up and there's bodily harm done to the people you love, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Nothing you can do about it, yo. Fuck all that.
And guess what? So, like, if you ever think, oh, someone's gonna have to tie me up if they want me to not have to do anything about this, go watch this fight that just happened. I didn't mention it, but another champion, Valentina Shevchenko, she put her opponent Jessica Andrade in this technique that's called a crucifix, right? And for those that be, oh, how nice, how, you know what I mean? That's so lovely and you know what I mean, holy and all that. No, your arms are like this. You can't do anything with your hips and your legs because the person's not there. They're in the position where they tie both arms together and there's nothing you can do but just eat punches to your face all day long while your hands. This is why it's called the crucifix. It's
you're like tap, tap, tap.
But like if this is real life, when people do that in real life, there's no tapping. They will literally punch you until you bleed out or until you just go unconscious and stop responding. But that's just the point. Is like people can do these things and their lack of or their ignorance of martial arts because that's just like that Bruce Lee movie I watched, right? It's not serious to people. Boom, like I said, it's the one thing where people would choose to try to challenge people to fights, but not know how to fight. I would never. I don't know.
Yeah, and even once you know how, you still are like you know how dangerous it is, and you're still not trying to fight. You know,
when you know what you're doing. So like for an example, if you decided right now at the blue, we're having a great conversation, but you're like, dude, fuck you, I want to fight you. I'd be like, fuck.
I'm coming in.
Yeah, I'd be like, all right. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, okay, well now I got to knock you out. I don't want to break my hands. I don't want to do it. That's the other part. Like you could hurt yourself.
You can wrap somebody up and
if you can disable them. That is the key. You disable them. They say and this one's actually from Cobra Kai. Legitimately, it's actually a good show, bro. Like check it out if you don't. But because it really builds off the Karate Kid. That's the sequel to the Karate Kid in a TV show form. But basically, it's a maneuver. It's not real, but it's like if you have the ability, if your opponent wants to wage war and you don't want to wage war, but they refuse to relent, then you put them in a position where they no longer have the capability to wage war. So you disable them. Take away their arm, take away their movement, kick them right here. So if you're standing and you get kicked in that way, well, guess what? You just tore your whole thing up, man. I don't got to fight you. I'm sorry I had to hurt you, but I had to protect myself. You know what I mean? So that's it. Wrestle them, hold them down. It's why when you're in school, I don't know if it works this way anymore, but when I was in school and I'd get in fights in high school and whatever, I would get suspended for defending myself because they say, oh, you're not supposed to punch them back. Just hold them down until somebody, and it's like, you think about it as somebody who doesn't know how to fight or as a kid, like, why would I ever do that? But it's so smart when you're an adult and you're just like, dude, you could act like you don't understand that this is hard ground, dude. Like hitting your head on that.
If you even just fall from 6 foot tall, you know, like
if I just fell the wrong way here and hit my head the wrong way, just sitting down here, you could either go into a coma, you could die, all these things. It's just, that's it. The magnitude of this is so much larger than what people view it as, and that's why it's so important to me. And martial arts is about respect. There's a difference between a fighter and a martial artist, right? It's all about respect. It's all about, showing honor to your dojo, your place of practice, right? It's all about showing honor to your respect. It's about saying thank you for even coming in here and competing with me. You know what I mean? Like, I love you for that. You know what I mean? We share a connection that nobody...
that brotherly sparring kind of thing.
Nobody else in the world will be able to understand. That's more intimate than anything else. It's more intimate than sex. And it's a weird thing to say, and people are going to probably take this and clip it out and say some weird shit, right?
Whatever.
But killing, right? The act of murder, right? And if there's a great book, it's literally called On Killing. Definitely check it out. I love that book. So on killing, killing, the act of murder, and the act of like fighting, intimately fighting, close wrestling, punching, whatever, that is more intimate than the physical act of sexual intercourse.
No, man, I was thinking about this the other day and talking with a really close friend of mine. We give each other loads of shit. Like when you have a friend that you can like really hit hard with,
Those are the best ones.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the way that dogs, my fiance's dog is really aggressive, and she likes, like me growling in her face, and she likes that kind of stuff, and I just had this epiphany one day. I was like, the relationship between dogs where they can show each other their teeth and play bite. I was like, that's such a bonding, loving thing, because it's like, I'm not gonna hurt you. I can even show you my teeth. I can even nip you a little bit, but I'm not gonna hurt you, and that's like almost like, it's like a...
It's trust.
Yeah, and it's a relationship of its own. It's like a sign of love and partnership.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Like, and we can both get better and stronger.
Yeah, and it's also every single day the act of facing your fears. I don't know about you. I don't sit here and say I'm fearless whatsoever. You know what I mean? I am not a fearless man. You know what I mean? So when I see big strong guy in there and I'm like, God damn, he hitting those pads pretty hard, bro. Like, sheesh.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? But it's the act of confronting that every single day. It's the same thing with the cold shower, man. That cold water, I'm scared of that cold water. It does not feel good being in there until it does. You know what I mean? Because it's not, I don't think it's me overcoming the cold water that feels good. It's me overcoming my fear of the cold water. To say that you step in it, oh, it's just water. Like, you're not gonna hurt me.
And then afterwards, you're like, I can stand 2 minutes in a cold shower.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't do that a week ago.
And it also makes the other things in life a lot less difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you do difficult things,
Like, ain't as bad as that cold shower.
no, but like if you do difficult things, right? The moment adversity pops up in life, in whatever shape that it pops up, you're not just gonna fold. And how many people do you see on a very regular basis? The moment any obstacle pops up, they're done. That's it, right?
Sure.
Oh, like how many people will come up to me and listen, man. Please, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. And I don't mean to be joking or condescending, but people reach out, talk about like, hey, man, can you tell me about how to create a podcast or how to start your podcast or how to do a podcast or like what equipment, what did you do, just stuff like that. And I love that because it's like, dude, please, I didn't have people to give me that game, so I'll give you all the knowledge you need. But then I see 2 weeks later, nothing, right?
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I couldn't get that piece of equipment, so I guess I just can't do it. And I'm just like, damn, bro, did you know that like all the game and all the equipment that I told you that I'm saying like, yeah, start off with this, I had none of, and I had no one to tell me what to get, so I had to buy shit that didn't work, and I had to buy shit that, you know what I mean? But like, I had an indomitable will, and that is the whole entire point, is that some people might not be very smart, might not be very talented, but they can work hard. And that's it, man. I get actually a little disrespected to a certain sense, not truly, right? But it stings a little bit when people be like, oh, you're so smart. I'm just like, damn, you don't know the half of it.
You're
No,
like, I work hard.
I've worked like 10 times harder than the normal smart person to actually get this, right? When I had to go and take physics classes and take all these crazy math, science classes, dude, I was like, I don't know this. I failed algebra 3 times in high school. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to understand these formulas. But what did I do? All right, well, I got to spend some extra time doing this homework, man. I got to sit down and I just got to keep, going away at it, right? I don't know how to talk very well, but like I have ideas and I'd like to get them out there. So podcast number 1 comes out. If I go back and I actually did it the other day, I listened to the first podcast, Portland Free Thinkers Club. It's dog shit. It's terrible.
You just make it, yeah.
It's dog shit, man. It's like, it's one of those things though where it's like, oh, you thought you were good. Like I thought I was good. I was like, oh, look at me. I got a podcast. Look at how good it looks. I sound like shit.
But like you said before we started today, is like you have to start unprepared and just get going,
So
like
that's the key. So let's reiterate it for the folks, right? You start before you're ready and you keep going. That's the way to do anything in life, right?
Yeah.
Now, it might not be the best way. It might not be the best way, but it is a way to not think your way out of it. Because I do that all the time too. I'd be like, oh man, like I gotta work out and I gotta do this and I gotta do this today. But if I work out, I'm not gonna have enough time to do that. Then I can't eat in between. And then now I might not work out at all because I'm just thinking about it too much. Instead of, all right, well, I'm already on the way over there. So we'll just figure it out as the day comes. We'll cross that bridge as it comes, and that's admirable to a degree, right? But then to people who like myself, I'm a planner. So it's counterintuitive to the way I live life. But whatever works, whatever works, man. Listen, there's no cut and dry model for all of us. It doesn't work that way.
So let me ask you just one more question.
Please.
We'll wrap it up. What's with the ring, man? You getting married? What's that?
No, this is actually an Aura ring. You know what I'm saying? So do you know what an Aura ring is?
No.
So this is just a ring that monitors your sleep and like it monitors your heart rate variability and heart rate and things of that nature. So the reason I used to have this big Garmin watch on all the time, and I felt like my life was being too bogged down by wearables. You know what I mean? Technological wearables, right?
Yeah.
I already got a tracking device in my pocket at all times in my cell phone, you know what I mean? But having this thing on, man, it's just a little sleek way to be able to track a lot of things that I care about personally. You know what I mean? Like, let me see how many hours of sleep I got. How many times did I wake up during the sleep? And
that's cool.
It's cool depending on what you do, right? Because if you don't do shit all day and then you got it, it's like, all right, who are you trying to be, right? And for me, you can even ask the same question, who are you trying to be? Nobody, man. I'm just trying to be me, but I like having a little extra data to be able to, you know what I mean, go off of more than just feel, right? But that is a thing that I did kind of worry about at first. I was all like,
so
people are
gonna think you married.
Yeah, and like if you do, listen, man, I've been with my lady for 5 years, so I'm damn near married at this point. You know what I mean? But
like practically.
You know what I mean? Listen, to me, and we can definitely wrap up after this, but this is something that I think you might be able to relate to a little bit, right? So you say you were with your fiance, and I apologize because my knowledge of these things is so scarce. Is that like engaged, or is that like married, or?
Yeah, we're engaged.
Okay, so there you go, right? So to me, and this is just the way that I've been raised, right? It's the same way that I had the same relationship that I had with the religion when I was a religious man. And why do I have to enter a sacred building to talk to God? Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to go ask the government if I can be with the person who I want to spend the rest of my life with?
You on that, man, 100%.
Aside from tax breaks, aside from a little bit of paperwork, what exactly is marriage? How does it change anything?
Yeah. I mean, I see it the exact same way.
So that's my big philosophy is like, hey, man, I could tell my significant other, like, hey, I love you. I want to be with you forever.
And when you know that that's true, it's like everyone else could get married, but they all getting divorced too. So
you know what I'm saying?
We just doing
We're just chilling. Like
we do want to like officially get married or something, but you know, like
there's something there to it. There is something special about that to where you could officially be like, all right, cool. You know?
I want to do it for her dad. Her dad's like really traditional, like Egyptian Muslim guy, and he just wants her to like, you know, be all like.
It's important, and in a lot of those cultures, and I can kind of relate because I got some Muslim people in my family, right? In those kind of cultures, at least in Africa, it'll be like the father, their literal role, and it's so cool to me because it's a cultural thing, right? It's just a little bit different, but their whole entire role, or part of their role as a father, is to make sure that they line up the person, not what do you call it? Arranged marriages, but like they find a good person who is going to be the partner for their daughter.
Yeah.
That's their job. It's not as simple as, oh, I would really love to do. That's my job.
Yeah.
So, hey, young buck who's trying to come and get with my daughter, you're gonna have to pass a couple of tests, and I'm gonna have to sign off on this before. You know what I'm saying? And I really,
how it is.
I respect that though, man, because like as much as you can be independent and listen, man, there are some things. Tradition sucks sometimes, but it's also really special sometimes.
Well, and it's just like, hey, it's not that big a deal. I just want to like honor him because, you know.
Thank you for allowing me to be with the love of my life. You know what I mean? And it's sitting, and it's easy to say, oh, well, I should have been able to do that anyways because she's her own person or whatever.
But he wouldn't understand.
On,
in his culture, they're like he's actually weirded out that we're gonna wait 2 years to get married. He's like you're engaged and you're not getting married immediately because he can't tell his family that we're engaged actually because that's like not how they do it.
Or I don't like. It's immediate. It's immediate in those families. You immediately get married. Yeah. Like, all right, cool. Now, okay, now you're gonna have kids now, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, man. I respect it though because like, hey, man, just because we don't get down out here like that. They have all the right to get down out there like that. Like, listen, man, you have the right to do whatever you want to do, and if I don't like it, I'll just go somewhere else. Like, it's not that big of a deal, you know what I mean? There's enough space on this rock for all of us, man, and that's the beautiful message. So I want to, if we are wrapping this up, please don't let me,
bro, go.
I just want to say this, man. Thank you, Luis Ocasio and Brett Anderson, if you are watching this, man. Thank you. Thank Live Island. You know what I mean? I appreciate you guys because what a lot of people don't know, right? You know, you already know what's up, but the Atlas intro to, you know what I mean? Atlas Suite, right?
Yeah.
And give me the year on the debut of that. What year was that?
17.
Something like that, right? You know what I mean? This is a project that you often refer to, and I've heard you talk about it with, I believe, Dave Barber, talking about like you're so how would you say, self-deprecating.
I talk shit about it.
No, you're just self-deprecating, which all of us creatives generally are, right? Be like, oh, listen, you want a banger? Salsa Chops. But then I got this like prog rock album. That's how you kind of go about it. But that song specifically, and a lot of songs on that album, on that project, spoke to me prior to this thing being, existing. This exists because of that song, and I want you to know that because I don't think you know that, man. It was. Yeah, I was like, hey, man, do you mind if I, like, fucking, use this as, like, the intro or whatever? And you're like, hey, man, whatever you want, please. You know what I'm saying? And that, first off, I was like, oh, my God, that's crazy. Please, let me give you something because that's just how, for me, let me do that, Yeah. But the message, what is freedom? We're asking the question. And what's liberation?
Question.
What's liberation? What is it, in the face of fascism or something like that?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? We really need to ask those questions. You know what I'm saying? And, like, a barcode on everything we own. What's up with that? Why do we want there to be a barcode on everything that we own? Why do we want everything to be in this whole little catalog of self-digitized? That song and that album, by being more than just this is what they're playing in the clubs tonight, you know what I mean? And being more of an introspective, like, I can reflect and listen to the song at the same time. Now, are the harmonies good? Are the melodies good? Yeah, of course. But that is what made me say, what is freedom? Well, let's create the Free Thinkers Club, and then we can find out.
Yo, man.
So, like, it's crazy how the world goes in these ways, and we talked about the coincidental nature of life and how it's so ubiquitous, right? You kind of just got to let it be and just say, like, dude, I don't know if this is predetermined, simulation theory, or this is just random, but whatever it is, I'm enjoying it, man. And like I said, thank you to you and to Brett, man, because we never met. I don't think many, you just talked about it. He's not very on social media very often, right? But, hey, cool guy. Appreciate you, man. So I definitely needed to leave off on that one because if I get out of here, if I left here without saying that to you, we'd have issues, man. I'd have to come right back and be like, no, I got to do it the right way. So,
well, Hopefully, wherever you land, we'll cross paths again.
Come on, man. It's a given. You know what I'm saying? It's a given. We're gonna make it happen. And Portland is not a place where I'm leaving and I'm never coming back, man. This is a home. But home is where the heart is, man. I've never had a home. You know, I've moved around way too much in my life. So it's like, sometimes Portland's home, sometimes Modesto's home, sometimes just this whole wacky place we call Earth. This is just home, man. Yeah, you know what I mean?
All right,
so big. All right, well, there we go. Rock the joints, you know what I'm saying? Until next time, folks.